Welcome to UpBringing. We are Hannah and Kelty, and we like talking about things that make us really uncomfortable in parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we think the hard stuff's the good stuff, and today we're here to talk about the power of follow-through.
Mm-hmm.
And
AKA help.
Help is the word that we're really going to be using.
Yes.
And I think that we all have a pretty good sense of how much we help our kids all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Doing everything. Mm-hmm. It's a big one. You think of helping as kind of like number one on the parenting list in a lot of ways.
Yeah, helping them get dressed, helping them in the toilet, helping them
with
not make a mess.
With their feelings. Mm-hmm. Just general support.
Kind of high on our job description, for
Yeah.
sure. But I think that this follow-through help is a little bit different in that it's helping us. It's helping a situation, and it's helping them. So it's kind of a trio of help.
Yeah, but I think that what we're going to be looking at today is using the word help as a very specific tool and a specific action, both as a mindset and then as a word, as something we say and a thing that we do with our kids. And the scenarios that we're going to be talking about today are all what we call go time moments. You know that feeling when your kid is either doing something that you don't want them to do, or they won't do something that you really want them to do?
So let's give the 4 examples. We're going to go through 4 examples today.
Okay.
Let's say what those are.
I was just
really
going to say
quick.
general context,
So,
but go
even
ahead.
just, for example,
Yeah.
our 1-year-old is holding a very precious vase when we walk into the living room. Or, for example, our 2-year-old refuses to hold our hand in the parking lot and is like trying to run away. Or our 3-year-old
Won't get in the car.
Yeah, like won't get in their car seat. Or our 4-year-old won't get dressed in the morning. So these are things that it's a challenge because it's based on an expectation we have that they're unable to meet for whatever reason. And they need a little help.
Yeah, but the situations that we're specifically talking about are those moments, like we said, go time, is when maybe you've had the opportunity to work through what we call the 4 powers. You can look at our 4 power intro video to kind of get a sense of those. They're basically 4 steps where we're respecting them, then connecting, we're innovating, and then we're trusting. And it's like often these go time moments are when
and those are things we're doing instead of having to control or force something right away. So it's a process we go to try to elicit their cooperation to stop doing something or to do something without having to be an asshole and kind of put distance between us and reduce their learning and their skills.
Yeah.
But as you said,
I feel like you keep interrupting me. I've been trying to say the same thing for like 3 different times.
I'm gonna listen right now. Go ahead.
Go time is when we've maybe had the chance to run through these 4 steps. Maybe we haven't, but it's when something needs to happen. It's often when we yell. It's often when we are getting frustrated. It's when shit needs to get done. Someone needs to get in the car. A breakable thing needs to get put down. There's a safety thing, like someone's running into the street, like you said. It's when something needs to happen, and it's usually around something that needs to happen where we need to get in there physically, and which is always a really kind of a tough one.
Especially, I think, when we're trying to be respectful, when we're trying to honor their bodies and give them options and
time, and maybe they'll come around, and maybe...
But I think that these are those moments when we end up yelling or feeling incredibly resentful, and they can feel that. Our kids can definitely feel that or hear that. And this is a way that we are kind of sidestepping and preempting that escalation in our feelings and then in our kids' kind of reactivity and kind of cooperation resistance.
Yeah, it's sort of, we like to think of the help kind of mindset or tool as saving our kid from themselves or saving us from ourselves or both of those things.
This is unbuttoned. I'm going to button this for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can keep talking.
Okay, so the first step is the mental mantra part of it.
Thank you.
It's so easy to, when our kids are exhibiting challenging behaviors, to think they're out to get me, they don't respect me, they should know better, they are just manipulating me, they're trying to get attention, they won't do it. And we've decided to replace all of those automatic negative thoughts with, they need help. That's it. They just need help.
And that's a big ask, but because it requires our trust that they're doing the best they can. that they are little people with growing brains and very wily bodies. And that's the frustrating thing you and I talk about a lot, Kelty, is that ebb and flow and scaffolding of their learning, how inconsistent.
One day they can get the shoes on. The next day, it's impossible. They literally cannot do it.
Yeah. One day they can hold your hand in the parking lot. The next day they're running around crazy. It feels, it's just crazy.
It feels unfair.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we truly believe, and research shows that there's an ebb and a flow to all of these things, and that we need to be the consistent ones, not expect our kids to be the consistent ones.
And that there's an ebb and flow in emotional readiness versus physical readiness, and those both change a lot. And part of this whole trust step is another replacing that we've done, which is instead of that thought that goes through our heads, they won't do it, is just saying they can't. So that's sort of connected in the they need help.
Yeah, anything saying they should do anything is living in fucking la la land, if you ask us. And we're still trying to believe that and to understand that, but letting go of any shoulds that our kids have has really released us from quite a bit of negative feelings and allowed us to just really take on that mantra of they need help and not get all worked up, not get all crazy, fuck emotions. When we see these situations, before we get ramped up, before they get ramped up, let's cut to the chase.
Yeah, I think this is a very
go time.
Yeah, it's very preemptive in that way.
Yeah, it's just say, I'm seeing this behavior, it's this time. Or I'm seeing this behavior, baby needs this, it's go time. I'm going to help you.
Yeah. So let's give an example.
Okay,
for example. Yeah. So your kid.
Oh, this has happened to you quite a bit.
Yes.
So
you're at the park with your kids and they're showing you that they're not ready to go.
They're having so much fun.
Kids love
to play.
Yeah. And you've run through the 4 powers already.
I have.
Let's say, I have. I've run through the 4 powers already. So I've respected that they have their own agenda. They're separate people. They are really enjoying themselves.
Kids love playing.
I've already established the limitations and boundaries before we got there. I let them know how long we'd be there. We had a sign, all planned out, all the stuff. I then connected, got down to their level, told them that it was time to go in 5 minutes and that we'd meet over at the thing like we talked about. Could see they're really having fun, etc., etc. Cool. Then they didn't meet there. So we worked the innovate step where I said, how about we jump into the bob. I'll count to 3 and you guys race in and jump in there at the same time. We ran through a bunch of other creative options trying to innovate. Didn't really work. They really just wanted to keep playing. And then I was kind of working on my trust level.
Especially
was like,
your daughter,
this
right?
This is going to take a little while. This isn't going to happen overnight that they're going to be ready to go to the park. Some days they can, some days they can't. I'm focusing on being calm right now. And then I look at my watch and I'm like, but we need to get my son back for his nap. This is going to have to happen. I realize we're in a go time moment. Right.
And this follow through help step is within the trust where you've done these other things if possible. And now all you can do is follow through lovingly by helping.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Like, how do you approach the situation, Cal?
Well, similarly to approaching with the 4 powers, but a little more brief. A little bit more like it's go time.
Yeah.
So I start with an observation. It seems like you still are really into playing and not feeling like you're ready to go. And then I try not to do it with a big but I'll be like, but
my concern is
that's better. My concern is we need to get Innie back for his nap. And it's already really late and we haven't had lunch. So I'd like us to get into the bob now.
Yeah. It's time to get into the bob. Whatever.
And then if that's not working, the beginning of the real help part is by giving a choice. And we call it a choice.
Follow-through choice.
It's a follow-through choice. It's really a loving ultimatum. So it would be something like, would you like to hop into the bob now or should I help you? And it's for those times that you really want to say, get in the bob or I'm going to shove you in there. Like that,
or I'm going to take away something.
Or we're never coming back to the park again. So when you go to ultimatum brain, that's when you offer the help choice. And we like to start with the would you like to offer first.
One last opportunity
to save face and to do it, or I can help you. And that might incite them, which it has after much repetition, to do it themselves because they like doing things themselves. And because they know it's probably more pleasant than me having to pick them up and put them in. But then when that doesn't happen and I need to lovingly follow through, I know that they really just couldn't do it. because any kid in their right mind would rather climb into a bob themselves than get wrestled in, right?
Yeah.
So then I lovingly follow through. I'm trying not to make angry face. I'm trying to
do it calmly, lovingly,
nodding,
understandably.
and maybe while I'm doing this and buckling the straps and trying not to freak out, I'm saying things like, you really just wanted to keep playing.
You're just acknowledging whatever they say.
I'm validating, I'm acknowledging what they say.
They have every right to complain or voice their opposition or have big feelings about
We're
it.
welcoming all the emotions around whatever it is.
Yeah.
In my mind, I can be thinking, we're never coming here again. This is never happening. I can go all those deep, dark places in here by myself. Outside, if nodding is the only thing that I can handle, that's what I'm doing. Otherwise, I can just kind of reflect things back. Yeah. So that's generally the help thing. It's going and thinking they need help, and then it's going through the, hey, I'm with you. What's going on? Still not doing it. Still not trying it. I'm going to help you in.
Yeah. But I think it's so important where I know that you've been at the park several times where you let it go too far, where you said 5 minutes, it's time. And
it's
we
that
see a
tension
lot of,
that we feel.
We see a lot of parents say, okay,
When do I
bye,
step in?
I'm leaving. And they pretend to abandon their child, which I think is very dishonest and not great for an attachment. But we've all been there where we're literally like, see ya. Like,
yeah, but I think it's because we have a fear of that physical conflict, that physical engagement. That's so much easier than a bunch of people at the park staring at you, carrying a screaming kid out or having to wrestle your kid into a thing. But with practice, it makes it so much easier. I don't care how many people watch me wrestle my screaming child into a bob. But I did the first 10 times.
A lot of people, this is such a big thing, is the follow-through choice. It is leaning into confrontation. It is leaning into a potential conflict. But that is the authentic, honest, respectful thing to do rather than controlling them by saying, if you don't get in, then this. If you get in, then I'll give you this.
Or please get in.
Yeah, or begging, whatever. But it's
Yeah.
those seem less kind of conflict ridden, but they're actually can really undermine your relationship and their skills of leaving the park. They need to understand that as their trusted advocate, you know the plan. You're going to give them every opportunity, and then with no guilt or shame or anger, you're going to follow through lovingly. And then that's how things are done in your home.
It's not a punishment.
No.
It's just, you got to help them.
Right. As opposed to being like, wow, I want to do this thing and mom wants something else. So she's manipulating me and forcing me essentially by taking something away or giving me something. I always like to kind of show the two sides of those things and let us think about which one we would rather have.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't think about it and we do the other one.
Right. And I have said before to my kid, if you can't show me that it's time to leave when it's time to leave at the park, then we can't go to the park like this. But it's also occurred to me, well, we're still going to go to the park, and she's going to see very soon that we still go because I need to get outside.
That's really you trying to threaten her in a really nice way.
But it doesn't really work because she knows we're going to keep going to the park. But I can't threaten her beyond that because it doesn't feel good to me.
I know.
So I've had to do the follow through and had to be like, well, then I will maybe have to lift her into the thing once. And that's the amazing thing, though, where it's like your kids, because of their temperament, you've had to do it more often because sometimes they really just can't.
Yeah.
But when
yours have learned
my kids have learned more quickly that, like, okay, I'll just jump in the bob because otherwise mom's going to help me in. And I'd rather get in myself. And she means business.
They know that that's a stable thing. And it's not a threat, but it's really, it's going to happen because I'll help you get in.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
But I was going to say something else.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'll think of it.
Why is help so great? Do we want to give these other examples?
I think we should give the other examples first.
Okay, so 1-year-old.
Let's play out some
really
things.
quick.
I really
so
want to think of what
1-year-old, you walk into the living room. Our 1-year-old is holding a very precious vase that for some reason we left out, which is very stupid. And
still trying to think of what I'm
immediately we would want to be like, "What are you doing with that?" Ugh, like be frustrated, be annoyed.
I told you.
Yep. Usually I respond because I'm so frustrated at myself for having left it out or for having left them by themselves, but I end up kind of projecting that onto them. What we want to do is get rid of all of those words, all of those thoughts, and just say they need help. So I approach immediately from a help perspective and say, oh, you found the vase. I make an observation like you did. You found that vase. Let me help you. And I hold on to it and I say, oh, it's so fragile. And they may like try to pull it away or do something. And I'll just say, oh, I'm going to help you because it's very fragile and sensitive.
But that's coming at it as less of a correction and more of you're helping them because they just didn't know.
And help is connection, basically.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing in all of these tough situations is we're connecting instead of correcting.
Yeah.
And so then, they might have the feelings they wanted to hold on to it. I'm sorry, I have to put it somewhere up higher because it's so delicate. Yeah. Is there something else we could find to do? You're frustrated. You really wanted that, et cetera, et cetera.
You really wanted to shatter that, and it's priceless.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, other example. 2-year-old.
Oh, 2-year-old wouldn't.
Your kids hold hands in a parking lot.
Oh, yeah. So this was a big one just when all of our kids were toddlers, and we just found the system of when we're walking through a parking lot or when we're not on a sidewalk, we're holding hands. And if you can't hold my hand, then I'll pick you up or I'll put you in the bob. Either one. And it was really just totally simplified everything.
It took away all the drama, all the resistance. They didn't test it anymore because they knew, they were like, oh, if whatever.
Yeah. If we can't hold hands, then they're going to help me into the bob or help me stay safe by holding me. Yeah. So that's
so we go around and say, what would you say?
Well, first of all, also disclaimer, not everyone has the luxury of doing this if they have multiple kids. We felt the conflict, even like that park example of being like, wow, my toddler's running this way, the big kid's this way. I can't even chase them to let alone put them in. It can be complicated, but with the holding hands thing, you can only carry one kid.
Well, and that's why we want to do the 4 powers before we get to the parking lot and have talked about it. See that, believe and understand why they would want to do that for their age. Connect with them about it, and so that they have a good relationship and want to stay close to us and not want to test or push
and know
or
why
run away.
They need to be close. And
exactly. And innovate with them about problem-solving strategies. Do you want to hold on to my pants? Blah blah blah. How are we going to do this?
So it would be something like, it seems like you're still wanting to kind of keep your legs running fast or explore out into that direction. But I can't let you because it's really dangerous. See the cars going.
My concern is it's dangerous in the parking lot. So you need to stay close to me. And then the question,
and then we
the
give
the
choice, which is, would you like to hold my hand? Try holding my hand one more time, or should I pick you up?
Right.
Or can you try holding my hand one more time, or can I help you into the bob? Yeah.
Right.
And then, like we said before, validating all the emotions around it and just lovingly follow through. Try to skip the anger face as you're doing it.
Again, the calmer and more loving we are with doing this, and the earlier we do it, the easier that is for us.
Yeah, you don't have to actually project a loving facade if you do it early enough that you're not frustrated.
You see it happening where you're not like, come back here, get back here. I'm gonna come after you.
I'm gonna count to 3.
Better come back.
Right. 3.
That's
mounting all your tension,
and that's seeing them. Here's a challenge that I want you to push against even more. Yeah. Instead of being like, the minute they start pulling away, we say immediately, you want to keep running. We just nip it in the bud. It's go time. You want to keep running. I need to hold your hand because it's not safe here. Do you want me to hold hold hands, or should I pick you up?
Yeah.
And boom, done.
Yeah. Okay, do the car seat one, the 3-year-old car seat one.
I have been going through that myself.
Yeah, and recently. She has to go through the back of the trunk of the van to put her son into the
so bad.
car seat. So she's like breaking her back while she has to do it if he's feeling...
Well, and he's done the thing where he'll like wedge into a corner. He'll be like, you can't get me. Like, just stuff like that. Where like, I'm like, oh my God, like thanks for the comedic like relief here. Buddy.
Yeah, that's actually really helpful.
It is because he's so damn cute. But sometimes they don't seem that cute. Sometimes I get really frustrated. But the first few times, I think it's only happened a few times lately because I've said, oh my gosh, you want to get in? We've run through a few of the innovation things, the connection things, and that doesn't work. And then I say, we need to get to school. You want to keep playing, but we need to get to school. My concern is we need to get to school. So can you jump in your car seat right now? Like hop like a bunny or dive like Superman into it? Or otherwise I can help you. And the first few times he was like, no, I want to keep playing and this and this and this. And then he saw what help was like, which is me like kind of awkwardly wrangling with a loving intention.
You might have pinched him on purpose.
Shut up. No, I didn't. Wrangled him into his seat. And the first few times he cried like literally like I broke his body. Yeah. And that was so hard for me because I was just like, I didn't
You don't have to lovingly follow through as often with your kids.
No, like they're so sensitive that like I lovingly followed through and he literally like...
He acted like you'd like... turn him upside down and beat him or something.
But he's not doing that anymore. Like now he'll just jump into the seat. He'll be like, and then like jump into the seat and then boom, we're done. So that's been going pretty well. Okay, what about the 4-year-old?
The 4-year-old getting dressed. That's a tough
follow
one.
through choice.
Yeah, but running the powers and then ultimately saying,
yeah,
it seems like you're still enjoying being naked. Or you love whatever you're doing. Doing the pooty-doo dance on the couch or whatever.
Yeah.
But my concern is that we're going to be late for school or your dentist appointment.
And
or
obviously,
whatever it is.
You're doing this not 5 minutes before you need to leave. You're doing this half an hour before you've lost your shit. Yeah.
Yeah. The closer we get to the last minute, the more tension there's going to be and the less able I'm going to be able to respond.
You weren't reminding this 4-year-old, you need to get your clothes on. You need to get your clothes on. You'd establish the expectation.
I've totally done that too, though.
You've done that, right? But in this ideal case, you've done the 4 powers, kind of. You've connected. You've offered things, and then they still don't want to do it, and so then immediately you're like, "Go time."
When instead of saying they're disrespecting me, they're messing with me. They know how to get themselves dressed. They're out to get me. I say, I just need help. She just needs help right now. So
she is unable to do it herself.
Right.
This
She
morning.
just can't.
Yeah.
Can't. Not won't. It feels like won't. It feels a lot like won't to everybody. She just can't do it. Yeah, so I'd just say,
when you say she won't do it, then you say, then I will make her do it.
Yeah.
And when you say
mental slippery slope
and
action.
then when you say she can't do it, then you say, so I will help her do it.
I need to help her. Yeah. So then I say, we'll start at the beginning. It seems like you still feel like running around naked.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah.
I wish I could all run around naked a little more often. My concern is we're going to be late for your dentist appointment or whatever it is. And so would you like to chase me into your bedroom? I give like one last Hail Mary innovation. Would you like to chase me into your bedroom and put your clothes on? Or should I help you? And she'll be like, And I see her brain. I see it working. And
sometimes they'll come up with their own thing.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes we'll get chased in and it works, or they'll come up with their own amazing thing. And sometimes I'll have to bring the clothes and sort of lovingly wrestle the clothes on. And I will also think, how many of these clothes do I really need to put on? Like, really, I go through the list of what must actually get done.
What does go time mean?
What does go time mean? So do we have to go to this stupid dentist appointment? I can go dance naked with her for a while. Or we really have to be there, so this has to happen. Or there are times where I'm like, do socks and shoes have to go on right now, or can they go on in the car?
What can ease this transition?
There have been times that I've totally handed my baby to the care provider with the pants on their head because that's how they would wear them into the car. Cool. Yeah. So asking yourself those questions within the follow-through of what, what could make sense for everybody.
This morning, my daughter didn't want to go to school, and she's 5, and she said, "I'm not going to go." And I said, okay.
That was my daughter yesterday.
She said, and you won't get me dressed, And I said, okay, well, but I will have to help you get dressed, if you can't get dressed yourself, but it's like she already knows what those steps are. And she was saying, and I won't do that thing. But then she literally got up and she was like, I feel better now, and got dressed. And we went to school. But where this process, and I think that we can talk why this help step is so great, is that it's very unemotional, and when things are unemotional, we're able to learn. They're able to learn. It's very predictable, so we get to a point where we give the follow-through choice, and that follow-through choice is a ding ding. This is go time.
We're in go time.
And I gotta trust mama or papa or whatever that something needs to happen and that they need my cooperation. And go time isn't always every time for everything. That's the other thing we wanted to mention.
Yeah, not to overuse the help and the go time.
I mean, we could control our kids. Literally,
help could become a dirty word in your house if you overuse it.
Totally. It's not an ultimatum. It's not a challenge.
Yeah.
It's it's something that we use when we need to move along as their advocates. And to get shit done and to protect all of us from feeling and being crazy.
Yeah, and I think people might be thinking a couple questions. One, how often do you use this? Like we said, not all the time, but it also depends on kids' ages. It depends on the kid's temperament. Like we've gone through periods where I use it 20 times a day.
To get through a regular day.
through a regular day of things.
Because there's so much resistance.
Because there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of testing. There's a lot of
Or in a really tough situation like an airport where you have to be moving them through these steps.
And they're not used to it. Yeah. It's something novel. Yeah. You use it a lot more.
Or the temperament of your kid or developmental stage, like you said. It all depends. But as we also said, the more often we do it, the easier it gets. The more predictable it becomes for them and for us, and especially around whatever topic it is. So if it's the car seat thing, that goes away. The resistance disappears because of the beautiful, loving follow-through help.
Or sometimes it disappears and then it comes back and you're like, oh, we need to help with the car seat again.
Yeah.
Like we're back there, too. You know?
What about the things that we can't actually help with or loving follow-through that drive us fucking crazy?
This is such a big one because there have been times when, like, one of my kids does something like incessant whining, or like my daughter likes to come into the kitchen when I'm cooking and turn the lights off or turn it on and off and on and off like we're in a club, and it's just like so infuriating. And so I'm feeling like go time, like this must stop, this has to stop. And there's no way for me to help her. I'm not gonna help her into a straitjacket, which is what I want to do,
or into like the broom closet or whatever.
Right. Like, what can you really do when you're in an open house? You can't. I'm not going to tape her mouth shut so she's not whining.
Well, most people to avoid conflict would just say, if you can't stop whining, then you won't get to watch TV later today,
or time out in your room, or whatever.
I mean, I think they would just threaten or punish. Like,
but those are tricky situations when you have to think of using your help in other ways, like the 4 powers, basically. But it's a tough one, and it just at least puts us in mind of the scope of our control, what we can control and what we can't, what helping looks like in a more manipulatable situation versus one that we don't have as much physical control.
Well, I think in those situations when we can't essentially lovingly control our kids, lovingly follow through and help them, we have to lovingly follow through and help ourselves. So in that case, I would say, the light is really bothering me, and I have kind of asked all these things, given opportunities, given new ideas, redirected, and then if that's not working, then I'd say, I'm going to go into my room for a few minutes where the light isn't there. And I would move myself. I would lovingly follow through with my behavior, with my needs,
And same with the whining. I would just be like, I need to be in the other room for a little bit because it's really hurting my ears.
Right. If those other things don't work, then you remove yourself from the situation, or you do what
it's
you
really
need to
all
do.
those times when you want to scream, stop.
Yeah.
Stop!
Yeah.
Stop it!
Totally.
Anything else?
In conclusion, I think we should wrap this up.
Okay. Like we mentioned briefly, to be using the word help in other ways, so there's not a stigma associated with help as always a loving follow through. Like if your kid's like carrying their plate and you're like, oh, can I help you? And they're like, no, I can do it. Like, because they're like traumatized by you like helping them into things or out of things or whatever.
Like help, like, oh, can you help me wipe this floor up? Or, oh, I'd love to help you get your pajama pants on. Like doing it not in a ultimatum, I have to do this, there's no other choice way, but in a willing,
double check that you're using it in those other
loving,
ways as well.
No pressure ways. Right, and with your partner too, or if there's someone around.
We can be modeling help in so many different ways. What else? There's no failure in this. No. There's only progress. We're going to yell stop. We're going to yell anyway. We're going to have stern, scary face while we're helping them do stuff sometimes.
That's okay. They need to understand sometimes when they've gone a little too far. And we need to understand when we've let something go too far. Yeah. And that's what this help thing is. It's just this fine balance between understanding what they need and then what we need, and how do we make that happen through this help step.
But so much of it is really recognizing the symptoms of this go time thing, and making those markers of when you're starting to feel ramped up, of when your kid is starting to lose control and spin out, and those things are starting to happen. Paying attention to those signs.
That action needs to be taken.
That action needs to be taken before it gets too far. Before it gets worse, helping is this tool that reminds us that we can do it lovingly, that we can not be scared to physically get in there and help our kids when they need to, and that especially when they're small and young, we should be doing it as much as we can in those necessary go times.
Well, and I think about, like, people might just be like, why do I have to be nice and loving while I'm following through? Why can't I follow through and be frustrated? Why can't I do that? And like we talked about that, well, they won't understand the why. They won't learn as well, because our kids won't learn as well because they'll be like, mama's mad, and that's all they'll kind of notice. But also it's because it can show our kids that in situations where the person above you or person in power needs to do something, they can do it in a respectful way that our kids can then respect, and then can then treat other people in that way when they need to follow through and essentially control them.
It's basically trust building within our family. So that when our kids are teenagers and you say, grab your bag, we need to run out the door for this, they're going to say, I trust her. This is go time.
She only does go time and this follow through stuff growing up, when she really needed to. And she did it in the most loving way that showed me that she only did it because it needed to get done. And it was nothing against us. It was nothing against her love for me. That's always been there.
Me as a person.
But you're building this trust and connection that once they're bigger and can say, no, fuck you, or I'm leaving, or whatever.
I'm going to my friend's house. I'll
then
come
in the back
whenever.
of their mind, they're going to remember when mama asked something of me, she has the best of intentions. She's loving about it. She's respectful. She's chosen.
She explains why.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. She observes my experience. She acknowledges my feelings.
Yeah.
And she gives me agency, especially too. So that when they're 16, we can say, please come with us to this thing. These are the reasons. I would love this. It would be awesome. And they can say, you know what, I trust her and I'm going to do it if I feel like it. Or instead of saying
we can't make them
an immediate resistance, no, what's in it for me? Or no, she told me to, so I'm going to say no.
I don't trust her agenda or her values or her whatever. Yeah.
So this is a big trust building thing in these situations. There's nothing wrong with that loving follow through. And it has been a huge pressure release for us to know it doesn't have to be all these decisions. It doesn't have to be this push and pull and power struggle. We just get to that point where we know and have the conviction. We lovingly follow through. We help. We show them what help can look like so that they can help others in that way someday.
And I think just big picture wise, something like that park trip used to ruin my day or ruin my week. And I'd really beat myself up about it. I could have still ended up pushing my kids into the strollers with them crying. And after I'd let it get too far, and I would have all these feelings of judgment, why did they do this? And I'm so frustrated at them and so mad and angry. And now the more I'm able to use help and to see help as this tool in this way, it might have the same actual ending where I have to put them in the bob, but I'm at peace. I know I'm doing the right thing. I'm showing them that I love them. I'm understanding that they are little guys with impulses and doing their absolute best, and that sometimes they just need help. And then I'm able to circle back and say, that was a tough morning at the park. And it's so much easier for me to do that and to see that, and for it not to ruin our day or our experience together.
Let's be honest. Some nights I'm so tired, and my husband knows that I need to take a shower, and he will say, I'll hear the shower go on in the other room. And then he'll come in and he'll say, can I help you to the shower? And it feels so good where I have a trust relationship with him where it's I know that he's doing that for me.
He's not you reek.
No, he's I will cuddle with you tonight if you take a shower because I love you. And there's trust about that.
Yeah.
And I will say,
and I know it's best. It is so much about saving you from yourself. I think about the times that my husband comes over and he's like, do you want me to, or what would he say? If it were like a what? He would say something like, do you want to put that away, or should I close up that bag of chips for you?
Yeah. He will help you close the bag of chips.
He will help me close the bag of chips.
Totally.
He will save me from myself.
We are all saving one another from ourselves and from one another,
and helping each other.
It's such a fine dance, but I think that help is a beautiful word in parenting and beyond, in friendships and relationships, and it's something we should embrace. Helping is not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign of being less than or anything. Help is a positive thing, and that's how we're trying to think of it. So we hope this power of follow through or power of help has been helpful to you, and we would love to hear your experiences with follow through, and
tell us
what you think of it. What other types of things you use when it's go time,
loving go time moments.
And thanks for listening, and we think you're doing a great job.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
What happened?
Welcome to UpBringing's Empowerment Episodes. I'm Hannah.
I'm Kelty.
And today we are, I don't know what I'm saying. Hold on.
You got this.
Do you want to go first?
Sure.